Hi, welcome back to another episode of Soulful Sundays with Madge. If you're new to this channel, my name is Madge. I want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to support the channel, joining me week to week on this journey as we rediscover our life purpose and work each and every day to lead a more healthy and happier life. And as usual, if you like what you receive, I ask that you go ahead and you hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment below. Ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. This way, when I upload, you'll receive a notification. You can always email me at askmadge18@gmail.com with any questions that you may have regarding this video, a past video, or just anything in general. So with that being said, let's get going with this week's topic. And this week we are going to talk about deserving. And my wonderful daughter actually is the inspiration for this week's message. So what happened was I was texting her and I wanted to thank her for all the help that she provides with editing the videos and, doing all these wonderful things for me that I have not quite figured out yet. And so when I was messaging her and I was telling her, thank you, she replies back and she sends me a lengthy text, and it was kind, but right at the end she says, you do so much for me and you do so much for the family, and I don't deserve you. And I was just thinking like, wow, at 13, my daughter somehow has already formed this concept that she's not deserving of a faithful mother who enjoys taking care of her family. I enjoy taking care of my family, but somehow my daughter believed that she wasn't deserving of a parent who goes above and beyond to make sure that her children, my children, are well. And it got me to thinking about life in general. And I don't know about you, but I can remember many times, even in my life, and maybe you might feel the same way, where we may feel undeserving, that we don't deserve people. We don't deserve situations. Sometimes, how about even the thoughts that we have? How many times do we have thoughts that go through our minds of possibilities and we think, wow, that thought is just way too big. It's way too expansive. There's no way that thought could be revealing to me who I have the potential to become. Going along with the notion of not even deserving the thoughts of what we may be able to be in life. And I just was thinking, like, how many times are we blessed with opportunities or are blessed to encounter people, and we start to think that it's too good to be true. There's no way that I could have met this amazing person, or there's no way that I'm gonna get this job, or there's no way that I'm gonna get this promotion. It just seems too good to be true. And I want to think, like, but why? Like, why is it too good to be true? Why can't we believe that nothing is too good to not be true? Why can't we believe that there is no thought too big, that there is no opportunity too big, that we may not know exactly how it's going to unfold, but it can be something that we deserve, something that we can work towards, something that we can have in our own lives. So, I do this, well, I've been doing this, I guess you could call it an exercise or a form of meditation. And it makes me think about, or I think about the 5 pillars of life. Some say 4, some say 5. So let's name them. So we have love and relationship, we have career, finances, time and travel, spirituality, and growth. And it allows me through meditation to have an opportunity to really, maybe I don't always meditate on all 5 of the pillars, but just some of them. Sometimes maybe I am thinking about all 5, but it's something that you may choose to try. I would suggest not to exceed 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes a day, where you just sit and you think, maybe think about all 5, maybe pick 1 or 2. Sometimes it could be one of the pillars where you might feel some discontentment in your life, or maybe you're longing for more. And for me, when I think about discontentment, I don't view it as a negative. I don't view it as it's bad. I know sometimes when we have areas of our lives that we're not pleased with, we can sometimes beat ourselves up over it, like, well, why hasn't it happened? Or we feel horrible about it. But I say, don't feel horrible about it. Don't beat yourself up over it. The good thing is that it's the God in you. It's your higher self telling you, hey, this is something you can work towards. It's a possibility that you can have more. You just need to tap into being open to being guided, to be able to move forward and to have revelations in those areas of your life. So going back to the meditating on these pillars, whether you choose all 5 or you choose a couple, you really can just sit and think about those areas or that area, and and ask yourself these questions when you really think about it, and you think what you've had. For instance, it could be, just to give you an example, well, last week I talked about my finances, so this could be a good way to give you an example. So I talked about my finances last week, and that was bringing me some discontentment in my life. So if I thought about my finances and I really wanted to figure out a way that I could improve upon my finances to make it work for me and work for my life in a better way, I would meditate on that. And I would have to think to myself, and sometimes this can cause some uncomfortableness, and I have to ask myself, well, what is it about my finances that are bothering me? Because up until now, whatever is going on with my finances, that's a direct reflection of what I've told myself I deserve, what I told myself I deserve my finances to be. Now, here's the tricky part. You might say, well, what do you mean? Because my condition is this, and I can't help my condition. Well, I say, yes, your condition is your condition up until now. And whether we're aware of this, consciously or subconsciously, we are always creating our conditions. We're always creating the experiences that we're going to have in life. The thought process, though, is, are we creating intentionally, or are we going to create off default? Are we going to have random experiences, random people, random opportunities show up in our lives that might work? But even if it works, how are we going to feel? Are we going to feel happy? Are we going to feel like we're living in our purpose? Whereas if we intentionally create, we will more than likely be able to have more peace, more happiness, more joy throughout the creation, because we are actually involved in what we're doing in our lives. We're involved in those 5 pillars that I talked about. We're involved in creating that vision that we're going to have for ourselves. We're involved in understanding that though the condition is the condition up until this very moment, that may be the fact, but it doesn't have to be the truth. It doesn't have to be our forever story. We always have the ability to tap into our higher selves, tap into our internal selves, and transform our lives to work towards transforming what's going on externally in our worlds. So I thank you so much for tuning in to another week with me. And I really hope that this gives you something to think about. What have you told yourselves that you've deserved in your lives up until now? And as mentioned, it can be very uncomfortable when we think about it sometimes, because it can be hard to think about, you know, whether you feel like you're lacking in certain areas or you want to improve in a certain area and you just don't know how, or you're a little bit uncomfortable with taking that big leap that you know you feel is a big leap and moving forward in your life. But I just say, you know, until we decide that we're going to step out on faith and we decide that we are going to get in the action in our lives and creating the experiences that we want to show up externally in our lives, we may always have some discontentment. But it doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be an experience that we view as a negative. We can really use our discontentment as a measure to say, okay, this is the God in me, this is my higher self saying that there's something going on, there's something the universe wants me to start to create, something that the universe wants me to have, and I just have to really take the time to sit and reflect and come up with a plan to turn that discontentment into joy. So I thank you once again, and I will see you again next week.